Module 2 of DreamJob. What stood out for me about this week's lesson? What stood out for me is how specific we got right away. And by that I mean having to decide on 3 actual job titles, look at the job listings, and do some deep research on what a person in that job actually does. Contrast this to what I was doing before, which was nothing. When I thought about doing something, it was to research a general area of business, but I had no plan on how I was going to do that, and as a result it felt overwhelming, so I did nothing. How is this material helping me change my perspective on finding a dream job? It goes back to specifics. You need to have specific questions to have a meaningful conversation with someone. And one of the barriers I specifically identified was how to translate the skills and experience that I have in my current role, which is in the defense industry, into other industries like IT or software. And when I looked at the job listings, an invisible script came up really strong that I became really uncomfortable when there were areas I had no experience in, like software development. So I reached out to a friend who had recently made the transition from my industry to another industry and asked him, how did he translate his skills, his experience, his successes? And one way he did it was to convert everything he could into dollars. That's a language that everyone can understand. Planning to work with him more to see how he converted some other results, but that was a big help, just to have the example of someone who's done it. And because I had specific questions for him, the conversation was very productive. What had I been doing wrong before? What will I do differently in the future? Well, before I was afraid to go specific because it seemed like too much too soon. Now I understand that you have to go specific. And having that specific information with real questions makes much more interesting conversations possible. Before I was doing nothing, so just about anything would have been an improvement, but since I'm having real conversations, I'm developing deeper relationships and hopefully impressing people with how far I go before I talk to them. And that's what Module 2 of DreamJob has done for me.